Hello there everyone, GamermanH here, and I'm going to be doing a bit of an ad-libbed response to the Team Fortress 2 update Meet Your Match. I have played a bit of the game with it, I've played with some of you people, and I have quite a few things to say about it. I've been looking at some of the community, and so I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the Meet Your Match update. So, let's get the big stuff out of the way. Competitive is now is no longer in beta, and that's awesome. The big problem with that, however, is that, I'll get into that in a second. So basically, it's out of beta and you can play it. If you have a phone number associated with your account and you're not VAC banned and all that stuff, you can play. Or you can do what I did and buy a $10 pass anyway because you're confused about how that all worked. But if you don't have a phone number that you can associate with your account or any of that stuff, you can buy the $10 pass and get in. So if you're a cheater and you get banned, it's going to cost you $10 to get back in every single time. Alongside that, though, they did add the casual mode, which is, they're calling it Quick Play Gets an Upgrade. I'm calling it Quick Play Gets an Upgrade, but not in the way you think. The casual mode is supposed to work just like competitive, or more like Call of Duty. You join in, you say, I want to play this game mode, and it matches you up with people of your same skill level or so. And you go in and play. The game starts when you do, and it ends after the point for the match, so capturing the flag or capturing the points. And that's all well and good, but the reason I'm calling it it gets an upgrade, not the way you'd expect, is because the casual mode and competitive mode menus suck right now, and you can wait anywhere from 5 minutes to over an hour for just one game, even though thousands of people are currently nearby and apparently compatible with your games, so there's kind of a big problem there. I'm hoping Valve kind of gets that together, because right now, playing in either of these two game modes is a hassle. My experience with casual mode has also been that my team is always short about 1 or 2 people, and we get steamrolled by people who are either clearly better than us. I'm usually topping, so I don't know if they're better than me. But, being 2 people short is a serious, problem in that game mode, and there's no way to replace them still. I talked about that back in my Competitive Sucks episode, and I was really hoping that they would add in a way to have people replace other people who have dropped out throughout the game. But that's just how things are. They also added some community-created maps, and these ones are going to stick around permanently. We've got Sunshine, which is a pretty fun map. I've played it before. Metalworks, which I haven't played before, but I hear a lot of people talking about. And Swiftwater, which is a map that I have loved for a long time from the competitive scene. Swiftwater rules. Pastime is also out of beta now. That's pretty cool. If more people were playing Pastime, or if you could get into Pastime easier than going through the quick play menu, which I will talk about that in a minute. It'd be a lot more fun. They added 2 new achievements. Toon Rasmus's Multi-Dimensional Television, whatever that means, and Jackpot, which probably has something to do with scoring 10 times. So that's cool. That's out of beta, and that game was very fun when it was in beta, so it's probably even better now that it's out of beta. And then we've just got some the new taunts being shown off there. But that was day 1. They've released day 2. It is now the Meet Your Match update. Heavy versus Pyro. Basically, one of them is going to get there we are, new weapons, new balancing, new achievements. It could be Heavy or Pyro, but it's not going to be both. So when you boot up the game, you choose, do you want to be Team Heavy or do you want to be Team Pyro? And if you have chosen Team Heavy and not Team Pyro, you're choosing wrong, because Team Pyro is clearly the way to go. Also, pun, meet and match. Anyway, we have new taunts, the Balloon Bouncer. I've seen a couple of these in-game, and I think this one's alright. The Carlton's pretty cool. Disco Fever was alright. The Foobar Fanfare is, I actually really love this one. It's the wah-wah-wah trombone, the fail trombone, and it's awesome. And these starter class packs are a total ripoff. They cost way too much money. They would turn a free-to-play into a pay-to-play player so that you could just get the weapons through trading or drops anyway. And they're basically just garbage. They're on sale right now, and they still cost $30. So where is it? Low-priced packages. Only low-priced if you go off of buying each weapon individually, which they can go up to $10. So this is total crap, and I'm not okay with this. This is, if anyone buys these, they're a moron. Just buy something for $1. Buy a ticket for MVM or something if you can, and then trade a single scrap for any of the weapons you want. It is not that hard. And then they added the Perfect Stranger crate. This new crate has a bunch of strangers that the community wanted, and I don't think any of the strangers are really that cool. I got the reserve shooter when I opened one I got, so But they've got like the Quickie Bomb Launcher, the Iron Bomber, things like that. So that's what you can get. The default view model versus the minimized view model, I actually really like this change. I usually play with a view model of 90 for my weapons. The item weapon view model FOV 90 or view model FOV 90, whatever it is. But if you do it with the min mode as well, or even just keep it in min mode, it actually is really nice because you look at that. You can actually see way more of the screen now. So if you combine those two things, I really do like the way that looks. It's very nice. You can see it on screen right now. I'm going to have some gameplay up, and that's going to be awesome. And then the eye before you buy, I mean, this is okay. I mean, you could just Google before, but this is nice too. You can now hover over the different things that are in the cases, and it'll show you what they look like. That's pretty cool there. So, we got that going for us. People who ordered Disgaea PC are going to get some stuff. Woo. And okay, so here is the update notes. This is one of the big things I was asked to respond to, so I'm going to respond to some of these now. So we got the general. The main menu has been completely reworked, and I do want to talk about that towards the end of this when I talk about how the community has been responding. Enemies killed by energy weapons, play special sound, that's all nice. All of these are pretty cool. But I want to talk way more specifically about the rebalances. They got some bug fixes, that's all nice. Performance has been fixed, and the HUD versioning is going to be annoying for people who use custom HUDs, but Toon HUD's already been updated, so that works pretty well. They got all these things. I still hate these, but whatever. New map fixes, all this is really nice. Okay, so the game balance. Let's look at the scout real quick. The Criticola, which everyone has been bitching about lately, they added marked for death for 2 seconds after the buff expires. I don't think 2 seconds is long enough for that. But I never really thought Criticola was that big of an issue anyway. It was kind of like the Phlogistinator. There were ways around it. And it wasn't really as overpowered as people kind of claimed it was. But that's nice. So the Soda Popper also got nerfed. And this is an interesting one. Instead of running around and building hype, you actually have to hit people. So it's very similar to the Babyface's Blaster. But you don't lose your charge for getting hit. So this is objectively better than the Babyface's Blaster because the Babyface's Blaster is a total piece of crap. So it looks like we've got a reworked crit and soda popper mix. So that's interesting. The shortstop added an alt-fire attack that reaches out and shoves people. It's basically an air blast. I got to use it like once or twice, but it's really not as good as you'd think it would be. It's kind of dumb. And the amount of cooldown time between shoving somebody and being able to attack again feels just a little bit too high. Like you push them and then you pull your gun back out and it just feels like it takes too long to kind of be able to shoot them. They're actually on the ground usually by the time you can actually even shoot at them. So kind of a waste, but whatever. The healing bonus is removed, so I don't really care too much about the shortstop anymore. And the pushback vulnerability is down, probably because now you can push back. And then the Sun on the Stick is actually mildly usable now because you take 25% less damage from fire. So it is now actually a direct upgrade to the main melee, to your stock, I believe, because you do extra damage to on-fire people, and you take 25... I forget what the downside is, though. I thought there was a downside. I might be wrong. The Soldier got a Righteous Bison change. The bug causing players to be hit by the same projectile multiple times, which everyone thought was the whole point of the weapon, has been removed. But, so, since that's been changed, the per-shot damage has been increased. The projectile moves even slower, so it's going to be harder to hit things. And projectile damage gets now reduced for every enemy that actually gets hit by it. And the hit sound is a little bit different. Disciplinary action gets a nerf, down to 2 seconds from 3 seconds. Not that that matters too much. And the rocket jumper now looks different and has a different sound. The sniper, they ruined the cozy camper, because now you have to have a full charge to gain your flinch resistance. The Sydney Sleeper has been made a totally viable weapon now, because when fully charged or a headshot, you now apply the Jarate in a radius, and if you scope, your shots can finally extinguish teammates. So those two things are absolutely wonderful to make the Sydney Sleeper a completely viable weapon now. The Cleaner's Carbine has been changed to remove the hidden plus 10% damage taken multiplier while under the effects of it, so that's nice. And we go to the Heavy, where the Nastasha and the Brass Beast have had their 20% damage resistance changed so that it only applies when you're spun up and below 50% max health. I never really noticed the 20% damage resistance. I mostly played Heavy and had people healing me, or I wasn't taking damage, so but I'm assuming that's going to make it a little harder to stay alive, but not that that's a big difference. The How Long Heater, a weapon I see almost nobody using, you now get 10% less damage, but you get increased damage versus burning players, so being close range with this weapon is going to be very helpful. Ammo drain has been reduced, so you're not going to be finding yourself out of ammo so frequently. And the pulse damage has been reduced by 3 points, but you're going to get, you see there, increased damage versus burning is the reason. And the Buffalo Steak Sandwich has been fixed damage taken, but accidentally being plus 10 instead of listed plus 25, so they actually nerfed that weapon. Spy has had his max speed increased to 320 from 300. That puts him pretty close to the Scout. And the Enforcer has the attacks that they pierce, resistance, and absorb effects from all sources. So I'm assuming that means, from what I understand of the game, that if a medic has a bullet resistance vaccinator up, you can actually just pierce right through that. Pyro. All flamethrowers have direct damage, reduces metagun healing, and resist shield effects by 25%. And medics hear a healing interrupted sound when this is happening to their heal target. And the Man Melter had its 20% hidden fire rate penalty removed, so the Man Melter is actually really decent now. It still has that change in the arc and whatnot, but it still makes a very good partner to the Phlogistonator because you can put people out now. All metiguns now allow the medic to match the speed of their heal target, which was previously only available on the Quick Fix. And this is actually a change that angers me a bit, because the Quick Fix used to be my favorite metagun, and it's now had 2 of its major bonuses changed. I kind of agree with this. This should have been there all along, but they took that out and also changed the Uber charge rate down from 25% to 15% bonus. The Quick Fix is now, after they made it so that you couldn't capture points with the Uber, now they've given away its run speed to every other weapon, and they've reduced the Uber charge rate. I feel that the Quick Fix is now an underpowered weapon, and it needs to have some stuff added to it or rebalanced. Maybe because they've reduced the Uber charge, returned the ability to capture points while you're Uber charged. I really, really don't like that change, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm blinded by my love of the medic. The Overdose has seen a buff that takes it from useless weapon to still useless weapon. Your movement speed bonus is up to 20% from 10%, and the damage penalty is increased, but it's still not a passive effect, so it's useless. Don't use it. Dropped metiguns now also decay their Uber charge over time. The Demo Man. All your boots now require a shield to activate. That's pretty fine by me. Now you can't just put boots on and just deal with that, so you now need a shield. That's pretty cool. The Iron Bomber has its decreased fuse time. The Quickie Bomb Launcher has gotten a serious nerf. The charge time reduction is now up to 70. The damage bonus has been increased to 35 from 25%. The clip size penalty is increased to 50. And the Sticky Bombs no longer fizzle, so you can actually still use this as a doorway jammer by using the increase in damage and just sitting there and waiting. But other than that, it's not that big of a deal. And the Sticky Jumper has had the same thing done to it as the Rocket Jumper did. Engineers, their teleporters now cost only 50 metal, which is freaking awesome. I don't know why the teleporters cost 5 metal less than the sentry gun. That never really made sense to me. The Widowmaker has an increased 10% damage when attacking the same target as your sentry. Only really useful I found when you're using a mini sentry, but hey, it's cool. The Eureka effect has had its 50% less metal from dispensers and pickups changed to 20%. And teleporters now cost 50% less metal on top of the teleporter. So the Eureka effect has finally become the official teleporter assist weapon now. So that's pretty cool. The Short Circuit had space projectile attack is minus 10 metal, hit or miss, and then add a minus 5 metal for each projectile destroyed, which makes it sometimes a buff and sometimes a nerf. That's really cool. The Short Circuit is getting a bit of attention. I still don't really use it that much, but it's nice. The Thompson has been fixed so you can no longer shoot through your own buildings. The close range damage is increased, long range damage is decreased, and the impact sound has changed. So the Thompson has had a bit of a change and a bit of a fix. So that's all the main class changes that they've done, and I kind of agree with a lot of them. I think they kind of messed up the medic, but hey, some changes are good, some changes are bad. They'll probably go back and fix a bunch of stuff again. So now I want to talk for just a second about the big change that a lot of people are complaining about in the community. You see, previously, when you booted the game, I'll have the footage up right now. You could click Quick Play, choose CTF or capture points or whatever, and drop into a random map or of that game mode. Or you could be more specific. I want to play on a Valve community server or Valve server. I want to play on a non-Valve server, blah, 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 blah. And that has now been replaced by casual, competitive, man versus machine community servers and training. Now, what a lot of people are angry that they think that the quick play has been moved to this button, like Valve keeps saying it was, and that this sucks, because this really does suck. But what they're forgetting is that you can actually just go down here to community servers, and it pops up the server browser. Now, I've got a lot of settings in here that I want to I'll change them back. So when you first open your server browser, you will see this. And a lot of people think this is like, I guess they're not including this in their thought process because this isn't as gorgeous as the quick play looked, but it's much more functional than quick play was because you could do a bunch of different things. For example, people are complaining that you can't get into a specific game mode now or a specific map. So let's say I felt like playing CTF on 2 Fort. I can just type this in real quick. I don't even have to type in the entirety of 2 Fort. I can get all sorts of 2 Forts. I can get the TF2 base 2 Fort. I can get this special edition here, this classic one here, or this one, like all sorts of different ones. Invasion. If I wanted to be more specific about a map, I could, of course, type it out further than that. And let's say I wanted to only have latency under 150 millisecond ping, and the server isn't full, and it has people playing on it. It's not password protected, and it supports replays. And let's say I wanted it to be on the East Coast. No, I want it to be on the West Coast. And that it's secure, and that the max player count is 32, and that the tags include all talk, all sorts of different things. You can actually do a lot more with this than you think you can. You can add stuff to your favorites, like I have all of these on my favorites for some reason. I've played these. I haven't played this jailbreak server in forever, but you see the point. You can look at your history, you can spectate things, LAN, friends, and any servers that you have blacklisted. This is actually much more functional and allows you to directly connect to servers that are, all their details are available, and that these are still the community pubs. These are not the Valve ones. So all that feature that I've seen a lot of people, specifically if my capture will allow me to go, I was looking at the Valve News Network video on this. So if you take a look at, say, where is it? I commented on a couple things. Like this guy. Let's just quote him directly real quick. Unless you bring pubs back and all the freedom that goes with it, you choose the map, the game mode, the team, when you leave, etc., I'm done with TF2, and I assume I won't be the only one. Valve pubs were like the foundation of Team Fortress 2. Since the system was already in place, the community didn't have to bother replicating it. But now, this foundation is gone, and the community-based solutions aren't ready to fill the blank. There's no place for people like me who want to take the game casually, like acting casually. Like actually casually. Waiting in line to play a game mode that you don't know for certain, having penalty system, ranking, etc. isn't casual. Let's be real. This update, as it stands, alienates people from TF2 and makes the player count decrease. If Valve's intention was to popularize the game, it shows lack of their comprehension. Things like that are also being kind of echoed down here by this guy, and I've commented on them, pointing out that the server browser is still a thing. So I actually saw a couple of other things on the official forums and whatnot, and in other places. I just want to remind people that if you're thinking of quitting the game because that server, like that browsing feature, is gone, don't. Make sure you actually look at all the menus and that you realize that the server browser is actually better. Sure, it's not as aesthetically pleasing, but it is basically the same thing, and it is way, way better, and people keep opening and shutting the door over there, and that's totally going to come through the audio. But yeah, those are my opinions on the Meet Your Match update. I had people asking me what they were, and I figured I had some pretty decent opinions on them. So there you have it. I think the update overall is pretty decent, but it has some flaws, and one of those big flaws is indeed that the community doesn't really understand what the hell they're talking about. So there you go. If that is what you wanted, then there you are. And if you disagree with me in any way, you can go ahead and leave a comment down below. I am always wanting to hear back from you guys. If you think that the medic isn't completely ruined, or that I'm wrong, and that the server browser is not a good replacement for quick play, then go ahead and comment below. Anyway, that's enough for me today. Don't forget to join my Steam group to come along and play with me and other people who are fans of me. You can get recorded and be put into these videos, so that's wonderful. I believe up on the screen, I'm not looking at his name right now, it's Ryan Tank something, Tankcraft on YouTube. He is a heavy team, he's team heavy, but he was the one that I partied up with to do a bunch of the stuff here. So thank you to him for that. Thank you to everyone who's already joined the Steam group. Link will be in the description. And I'd like to thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful day.